In today's news, Apple wants to make me smart. The iPhone gets a 14-year-old feature and the iPad gets a calculator. Apple kicked off its worldwide developer conference with a keynote as always. And it was all focused on new software, as most times. And of course, you knew it, I knew it, AI was going to be a big thing. Long story short, the AI features in iPhones, iPads and Macs are nothing we haven't seen before, but of course Apple did it all the Apple way. It is completely integrated into the operating system and can go into any app to pull out information from. For example, you can use the new Image app to generate a sketch of any person from your photos library. You can even pull it in an iMessage thread and generate an image to express yourself there. Look, Apple, I have a folder full of 2014 memes and I'm never going to give them up. You can ask Siri, hey, what was I supposed to do this afternoon? And it will go not only through your calendar, but also your messages and your emails and see if you made arrangements, appointments, if you had to pick up the kid the other day or something. And then it can come back and say, you have a meeting with HR this afternoon. Oh, send a company-wide email, I'm sick today. Now, all of this, or most of this, is done on device, and for the stuff that's not, Apple is using a super secure encrypted communication with the cloud. In fact, the company was so adamant on repeating how secure and how personal this AI is that Apple called it personal intelligence. Personal intelligence, I thought that kind of describes me, my personal intelligence, right? So if I buy an iPhone, I get more of that. I buy iPhone, I get smarter. Other features include the ability to summarize recordings, organize your notes, analyze your notifications and bring the most important ones on top. Somehow I don't feel like this is going to soothe the iPhone notification hater crowd, but we'll see how it works. It sounds very interesting. And you can use the Apple Intelligence to rephrase your emails, to change your tone. Apple specifically pointed out that you can use it to make your resume for a job application sound more professional. Just imagine being an HR agent in the next few years. Somebody sends you the most immaculate, well thought out email. You invite the person to an interview. So, tell me about yourself. I have an iPhone. Siri is much smarter now. You can basically ask it to do anything. Yeah, as before, you can say like, tell my boss that I'll be there this afternoon. But you can also ask it, how do I do this on my iPhone specifically? And you get a guide, which is pretty cool, and this is how you simplify technology. And yes, we do also get ChatGPT integration with iOS 18. For when the Apple Intelligence is not smart enough, it will actually ask you, do you want us to relay this question to ChatGPT? You don't need an account for this feature, but if you are paying for ChatGPT Premium, you can link your Apple account with that and get the full features. Okay, that's cool. What's new with iOS 18? Are you sitting down? Are you? Because we will now be able to place our icons wherever we want on the home screen. Wow! Never seen that before, 2010. And now you can unify the color of all of your apps. This opens yet another avenue to customize and personalize your home screen, which is awesome, and also removes, app branding from your home screen by just giving you one solid color for every icon. You know how I came up with that? It was the selling point for the Nothing Phone's monochrome home screen. iMessage will get message scheduling right now, so you can schedule a message to go out in the morning instead of right now at 2 AM. You're the only weirdo who's awake at this hour. So am I. Text me. You can finally change the lock screen shortcut buttons, like the little flashlight and camera thingy. Never seen that before. So the control center is now getting mega complicated. By default, it looks like before, but you can now resize the small icons into slightly bigger widgets, and you can move the bigger widgets into a separate page of the control center to make it one huge dedicated widget. So you can have multiple control centers. Look, My brain hurts. I need more personal intelligence to get this. So iOS is getting more complicated than ever. The good news is that you do not need to buy your mom an iPhone anymore. iMessage will now support RCS. So Android plebs will no longer ruin a group chat, and they can even send high quality pictures and videos to iPhones. And vice versa. 2024 is truly one of the years to be alive. You can also now give money to friends by just tapping your iPhones, like with Apple Pay. This is a feature that used to be open to retailers to take payment, but now you can use it with your friends just to pay back for lunch or whatever, if you don't have cash on you. iPadOS finally gets a stock calculator. And look, that's big news, because throughout the years, Apple has said that it's not bringing a calculator to the iPad because it hasn't found the right way to do it. The Apple way, I suppose. Well, it's here now, and you know what? Apple, yeah, this is the way. With the new calculator, we now have math notes. Basically, you can handwrite any equation and the iPad will calculate the solution and write it out in your style of handwriting. You can also use it to generate graphs that dynamically change as you change the values inside the formulas. Impressed yet? Now, do you remember I just said your own handwriting? Because yes, the Notes app in iPadOS 18 will be able to analyze your handwriting and automatically correct the squiggly lines, make it look a bit cleaner, more presentable, straight lines, right? But not only that, you can copy type text and paste it into your handwritten note, and the Apple Intelligence will paste it in your own style of handwriting. That's insane. Some core Apple apps on the iPad, like the Notes, are getting a floating tab bar which transfers into a sidebar depending on what you need for easier multitasking. And also, Apple really wants you to take gaming on Apple devices seriously. So we already have Assassin's Creed Mirage for iPads and iPhones with the A17 Pro chip. And now Assassin's Creed Shadows has been announced for the Mac and the iPad. And if you look at the Assassin's Creed Shadows pre-order plan, you realize that Ubisoft and Apple are basically a match made in heaven. But that's not all. Apple announced a new game porting toolkit 2, which should make it easier to port more advanced and heavy games from other systems to Mac, and then games for Mac to iPad and iPhone. And no joke, we finally get a gaming mode toggle for iPads and iPhones. Basically, when toggled on, it freezes all background applications to optimize performance for the game. The new macOS Sequoia gets most of these Apple Intelligence features, but also a new iPhone mirroring screen. Basically, if your iPhone is in your vicinity on the same Wi-Fi, but out of reach, you can open a window on your Mac as you're working and it will mirror your home screen, your apps, your entire phone. You can check your notifications, respond to messages, or drag files from the Mac into that window and they will airdrop to the iPhone. All of this while your actual physical iPhone remains locked, so no one can actually see that you're doing something on it. That's pretty cool. Windows does have the same thing, it's called Connect to Android, but it's buggy, clunky, annoying to use. I haven't used it in months now. Could be better now? We'll see. But I'm pretty sure the Apple option will be quite polished on launch. watchOS 11 will have new improvements for tracking. The new training load measurement will have a new effort rating, which will basically tell you if you can do better in your workouts or if you're pushing yourself too much. Activity ring goals can also be adjusted for each day of the week if you want to. So let's say you're a bit more groggy on Mondays. You can have your activity goal for that day set to be a bit lower, right? In the same vein, you can also preserve a streak by pausing the activity rings, say if you've had an injury, but Apple also says if you want to take a day off or more. Doesn't this kind of defeat the purpose of having a streak, though? I don't know. A new Vitals app will make more complicated analysis of your readings to give you deeper health information and send warnings when your metrics are out of their usual range. plus give you tips for healthcare. The Translate app also makes it to the Apple Watch with speech recognition, so you can have a babblefish on your wrist instead of in your ear. And the new improved Photos watch face will use machine learning to pick your best photos from your library and generate a great looking watch face, all Apple's words, which is cool because I never use the Photos watch face because I'm too lazy to go through my library and find appropriate photos. That's the basic gist of it. Now, if you're eager to try iOS 18, iPadOS 18 or any of the other operating systems, you can register for the Apple beta program. The public beta is not out yet, but should be within the next couple of weeks. Thanks for watching. Bye! Yeah.